Hey guys, what's up? Scottish Duck here once again. Right, this is pretty weird. This actually, I don't normally run into this problem. I have a few videos that I want to make, and I'm actually at sort of a loss of where to start. Usually, I'm struggling to find topics to make videos about. But yeah, to give you some context, because I don't know what I'm going to call this video. Lately, I've been playing a lot of my Sega Saturn recently, okay? And yeah, it just turned into a little play around basically. And I've ended up playing through a lot of games that I've owned for quite some time, but just never really properly got around to actually playing, you know? And it's been a good run. I've really thoroughly enjoyed myself. I mean, I already really like the console. I mean, Sega fanboy, what do you expect? But I've just like a good half a dozen games or something that I never thought I'd really loved, but now I do. So it's like joy, you know. And I had a few topics that I want to talk about. I want to do a video exclusively on Panzer Dragoon because I've marathoned every game of the series with this little Saturn run that I've been doing, and I feel like I've gained a real new love for the series that I didn't really have before. Even though I always liked Panzer Dragoon, I think I love it now. I really do. It's such a good series that I love. And I also want to do a video talking exclusively about Knights, because I'm recording this on the Friday, and I think tomorrow, is tomorrow the 20th of August? Because tomorrow will mark the 20th anniversary of Knights in America. Sometime in October it'll mark the 20th anniversary in Europe, so maybe I could get away with putting that one off for a wee bit. But yeah, Knights and Panzer Dragoon, I really want to make those videos. But I also just want to talk about the console in general and just like go through a few of my favourite games. I've got a wee pile here. You can see this pile is significantly lower at the moment. Even then, there's some games in there that I really quite like, you know, but I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk about what I've been playing on it and nice little rekindling love that I've had. Is that a good expression? I don't know. Let's start off, shall we? First of all, just to show off the fact that I own them, basically, we got the Shining games. I think these are the only two Shining games we have. I need to fix this light. This is shite, actually, because I take it too close. It's like, oh, it gets awful dark, and that's shite. Well, if I angle them slightly, it's a bit better. Anyway, Shining Force 3 and Shining the Holy Ark. I need to get round to properly starting the Shining series, right? Never properly sat down to try them. I have a feeling I'd really love them, you know, since they're pretty much perceived to be Sega's version of Fire Emblem, or at least back in the day, you know, they don't really... Well, actually, they do still make, like, loads of Shining games, but they only ever come out in Japan, and I think even Japan hates them. Don't take my word on that, I don't fucking know, but... yeah, I got these two here, but I have, like, a majority of the Shining games. I even have, like, Shining Force CD for the Sega CD. So, it's a pricey collection, actually, which is weird because I've never fucking played them, so really need to fix that at some point for definite. We'll just stick them here. And here's one that I did actually try playing, and funny story, this is a Dragon Force, not the band, the game. This was actually done by Working Designs, which I didn't even know. Okay, there's a lot of... I know very well what Working Designs is, you know, they were like, if I was born like 10 years earlier and I still sustained like all the like hobbies I have for like video games today, Working Designs would have been my best friend back in the day, you know, because they translated a lot of obscure Japanese games and brought them out in other regions, and this was one of them. Now, to be fair, for this particular one, I popped it in, played it for like 20 seconds and decided, no, I can't play this, because it's like, I don't know, you put it in, and after some like dialogue sequences, you get onto this map, and you can scour the whole map, and all this stuff is happening, and I think it's some sort of like real-time strategy stuff. I had no idea, but I was immediately intimidated and was like, no, I'll leave this for now. Don't know if I'll ever go back to it, and I feel bad because this is one of these ones that wasn't cheap and is pretty fucking rare. Which I'm glad to have it, but I didn't necessarily like it as much as I wanted to. But yeah, that's one of the ones that I tried and it failed sadly. Now let's get on to one that I actually did play as of recently and thoroughly enjoyed, and that's this right here, Enemy Zero. Now, you want to know what the reason was? I'm sure I've said this in the collection update of whenever it was I showed this off, but the only thing that drew me to this game was the fact that Fumito Ueda, who is the director of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and soon enough The Last Guardian, whenever that fucking comes out, has his name attached to this. Not in a very big creative way, he was just a CG animator, but still, he's got this on his CV, and I'm like, whoa, I can't no buy this then, can I? And it is absolutely fucking nothing like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. This is like, you get Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation pretty much copied this game. I was quite stunned when I started playing it, except the aliens, there's more than one alien, they are all invisible, you only have one bullet in your gun to kill them, and they don't hurt you, they kill you in one hit. And the saving in this game is extremely stupid in the fact that it uses up batteries on your saving device, so you can only save a certain number of times, but it also uses up batteries whenever you load the game. So you could potentially load this game over and over and over again, run out of battery, and your save file is useless. So yeah, unforgiving as fuck. But it's actually so unforgiving and so asinine in that sense that I kind of love it. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe I'm just into that shit. Maybe I'm into my games abusing me or something. I'm disturbed like that. But I loved this. This was like really good. It's just such a really nice story. It looked and was just really, I don't know. It's a very unique experience. This, and I feel bad because it's very rare now, hard to come by. It was a Sega Saturn exclusive, though yeah, it was on PC as well. But yeah, the guy who made this made like a bunch of games like it. In fact, I'll just show up anyway, because I couldn't really be arsed talking about this, but I did play through D as well. This came out before Enemy Zero, by the same people. This one wasn't as impressive to me. It's like an hour long, okay, despite being on 2 discs and... Is it 2 discs? Yeah, it's 2 discs. And the story isn't as interesting as Enemy Zero, I thought. Enemy Zero's on 4 discs, incidentally. It was alright, I suppose, but Enemy Zero's a lot better, I thought. There was also a few other games that the company in question, they're called Warp, incidentally, that they made. And I want to try and get around to trying them at some point, but I don't know when I will. But here's hoping, Okay. Now, the other sort of I guess main game that I really got into with this marathon, or at least got like a whole new love for, was this right here. This is Astal. Now, this right here, I like to describe this as the Klonoa of the Sega Saturn. A very simple, cutesy 2D platformer that just grabs you with its charm, basically. Yeah, it really is that simple. It's got some really unique stuff to it, like a 2-player co-op mode, which is, Astal, and the other player controls his little bird friend here. And even when you're playing in single player, you can get the bird to do interesting stuff, like do something to the environment that's context sensitive style, or bring you health, or attack an enemy. Stuff like that, and yeah, it's just, the music's really good, really charming story. I could pretty much, really, I could be holding Klonoa, Door to Phantom Isle in my hand right now, say the same shit, and it would apply to Klonoa the same way it applies to this, because it really does give me the same sort of feeling, you know? I'm a sucker for shit like that, you guys all know this, but yeah, Astal, only released in America, that's why it's Americanized like this, these sort of glass cases that they got over there. They're kind of nice, but a bit big, really. But, yeah. Astal, again, loved this one. This was a really good one. In terms of what else I played during this said marathon, not as good with this one, to be honest. It was Shinobi X. Now, I'm quite a big Shinobi fan. but this wasn't that good. It was, well, there was good things to it, right? This is basically a 2D Shinobi game, but it uses digitized graphics with like real actors, and as a result, you get a Shinobi game. It plays like Shinobi, but it sort of lacks, like, I don't know. Revenge of Shinobi, Shinobi 3 are way better, I think. The only other Shinobi game that I think I really like is Shinobi on the PS2. This wasn't really one of them. I think like the most worthwhile thing about this one is the CG, not CG, the live action like FMVs that you get in between levels. They are hilariously, like, yeah, they are hilarious basically. You've just got these like Japanese actors jumping about pretending to be characters in the Shinobi universe, and it's cheesy and awful, and I'm like, yes, this is good, but I couldn't beat this one. Level 5 is so cheap. Fuck level 5. It's a sort of minecart thing, Donkey Kong style, and I couldn't get fucking past it. But yeah, I suppose I've definitely played worse Shinobi games, but yeah. Shinobi X, I think it's just called Shinobi, and like, in fact, yeah, I think it is called Shinobi in, like, America. Which is crazy, because the PS2 game is called Shinobi, a game on the 3DS is called Shinobi, and not to confuse that with the original Shinobi for the arcade and, like, the Master System and shit. So, yeah, you love that name, don't you, Sega? You really do. Okay. And, just looking at these games right now, I think that's, well, actually, there was this, it's a bit cheating to put this on here, I suppose, because it's not necessarily a game that I just discovered with this marathon, but it is one that I popped in and played properly for the first time. That's House of the Dead. I used to play this game. I'm not sure. No, I remember actually. I was on holiday once, and I don't know if it was like that for everybody, but at least where I came from, if you wanted to play like proper games in arcades, you basically had to go on like a caravan holiday to a beach or something, and they would always have a little amusement section where you could go blow money in the arcades, basically. And I remember one holiday when I went down to, I think it was like Wales or something with my dad. They had one of those arcade sections, and they had a copy of House of the Dead there, and I played it every day, you know, and I have similar memories of that with games like Time Crisis 2 and other light gun games. I was always drawn to the light gun games, but that holiday was where I played this one the most, and I loved it to death. Sadly, this port's a bit shot. It's really jaggy, really bleh, you know, very Sega Saturn, basically. You know, you just look at the port of House of the Dead 2 for the Dreamcast and House of the Dead 3 for the original Xbox. Those ports were so wonderfully done, you know, compared to playing them in the arcades, which I did a wee bit, but not nearly as much as this one. So I'm probably biased when comparing the arcade experience to this, but it is still the same game that I love to death, you know. So House of the Dead, yeah, I still love it, regardless of what console you play it on. Right, with that said, guys, these remaining games weren't necessarily things I played in my little marathon, but are just games that I really like for the console, so I'm just gonna gush about them a wee bit, so if you'll indulge me. Right, can't really talk about the Saturn without talking about these, because, see, when I was a kid, that's the other thing. When I was a kid, I may as well tell this anecdote. I remember like being so obsessed with like Sonic, you know, on the Mega Drive, loving it to death, that I wanted the next Sega console just to play Sonic on it. I kept telling my dad that, Dad, I want a Saturn, I want a Saturn, I want a Saturn so bad. And my dad isn't really like you know, what's the word? He's not very technology savvy, I guess, and definitely not video game savvy. But I distinctly remember him saying to me, Donald, are you sure you want to get a Saturn? Wouldn't you rather get a PlayStation? Even he knew, even my dad who knew fuck all about video games, knew how much the Saturn was failing at the sort of end of the 90s and that, you know? He knew that it was a much better investment to get like a PS1 or an N64 than a Saturn. But me being stubborn as shit was like, nah, I want a Sega Saturn. Luckily all my friends had PS1 and my brother had an N64, so I wasn't starved for those consoles, but two games that I still played the most, regardless of the sort of quality or redundancy of them, was Sonic R and Sonic Jam. Sonic R, I'm not sure if I like this game, if it's a so bad it's good thing, or I actually legitimately love it. This game stirs all kinds of emotions in me. Again, I'm not sure how exactly I feel about it, but suffice it to say, it's important to me. It really is. This game, yeah, it's important. That's pretty much all I can say there. And Sonic Jam, I'm tempted to say that this is the game that I've played the most in my life. I played a lot of Sonic on the Mega Drive, and I didn't mind just replaying the game. Despite getting a Saturn, I didn't mind like replaying the games over and over again, just on a different console, you know? That, and of course, like, the inclusion of, like, the Sonic world, you know, where Sonic was running about in 3D, okay? I loved that shit. I ate that shit up so bad when I was younger. It was Sonic in 3D, even though it wasn't a proper game, it was just, like, a museum and stuff. It was just, like, that was all I needed, basically, you know? I loved it. I really did. So Sonic Jam, despite being, like, just a recompilation of Sonic games, it's gotta be, like, top 3 on the Saturn for me. At least emotionally. It really does. Right, these games are sort of getting less and less special, admittingly. We got Burning Rangers here. One of the very, actually this and this one, in fact I'll show it just when you saw it. This Burning Rangers and this Guardian Heroes, these were actually two of the first games I sought out with my Saturn when I started collecting games. Because I kind of knew that most Saturn games were already, even like 10 years ago when I started collecting, were starting to get really pricey. And these were two that were sort of pricey, so I was just like, right, I'm going to save up accordingly and acquire these games, you know? And Burning Rangers by Sonic Team was really good, you know? One of the things that really does bug me about this, and this is actually a complaint for the console in general, a lot of their games are a bit too short, you know, they kind of like take on that Mega Drive mentality of limited lives and limited continues, and the length of the games always is reflective of that. You know, you didn't really get that problem that much on like the PS1 and N64, you know, you got like your big adventures on there, but not so much in the Saturn, and I think that's one of the things that really held it back, and sadly, this game kind of reflects that, because it's hideously short despite being really good in all areas, you know. If this game was just a bit longer, well, a lot longer really, it would be just such a classic and such a big favourite of mine, but because I love pretty much everything about it. This was one of my very first Let's Plays, and nobody watched it. Don't watch it, actually, because it's awful. But yeah, Burning Rangers, hell yes. And but Guardian Heroes, this is actually one that several times in my life I've sat down to play, you know, I've sat down and be like, right, I'm going to play and get into Guardian Heroes. And it's never quite happened. I don't know what it is, I mean, this game is like part beat 'em up, part fighting game, part choose your own adventure, part Super Smash Brothers, you know? And all of that is as awesome as it sounds, but I've just never properly got into it. It's so weird. Maybe I will one day, I don't know, but either way, it's cool to have, I guess. But yeah, Guardian Heroes. We're getting a bit less to talk about here, only a few games left. Last Bronx, you know, you got, the Saturn had its Virtua Fighter, it's Virtua Fighter 2, it's Fighting Vipers, it's Fighters Mega Mix, I think it was, which was like Virtua Fighter characters and Fighting Vipers characters in the same game, which with some Daytona cars thrown in, which everybody loved. But I don't hear a lot of love for this fighting game, and this was one that I played the most, you know. One of the few games I remember my dad actually playing with me, because he was shite at games, but he used to play this one with me, which was good. This one and this one, I think this is the last game I'll talk about. Sega Rally. Now, this was just like, I think my dad sort of bought this. No, I remember. When I got the Saturn for Christmas, my dad gave me two options. The Sega Saturn with just Sonic R, or the Sega Saturn with Sonic Jam and Sega Rally. I guess those were the only two good deals he could get at the time. And it was a tough choice for me at the time, because I saw Sonic R and I'm like, oh, I want that. But ultimately I just went for like the one with more games. And even though this kind of got overshadowed by Sonic, still got a lot of good memories playing this one. And again, my dad used to play this one with me because he was a lot more tolerant with racing games back in the day. So that nice memory is pretty much enough for me to say this is a big favourite of mine on the Saturn. It really is. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Steep Slope Sliders. I used to play this. This was like a fun game. Clockwork Knight. Did a Let's Play of this. But I think Astal is way better. I'm just going through other random games here. Feel free to click off any time, you know. Loaded. Anybody who remembers this game? Nobody talks about this one. This was like a weird sort of gory top-down thing. You could play as like a guy in a dress and stuff. Very weird. The rest is all stuff that I don't really want to talk about, or I've not really played yet, so we'll end it there. How rambly was this video? And I still want to do a video on Knights and Panzer Dragoon, so look forward to those. So yeah, see you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.